Hi, this is Ricky Keller, and I'm going to do a quick screencast of Milestone 5 for my game Overclock. Again, I'm presenting from using QuickTime, and I don't think I have audio in this again, but it'll be in uh, the APK that I submit to Underdog. Nothing about the menus have changed. A few of the things that I wanted to go over. You'll notice some differences when I select the level here, but replace the background and tiles that had already kind of been done last milestone. It still needs a lot of work, but they are made into tiles now, so that another feature highlighting these overclock tiles, now that they're made into tiles, can be accomplished. So I'll demo that in a minute. Basic enemy and animations, I actually have 3 different characters animating now. I had some issues with one of my artist friend not being able to deliver as much as we thought initially possible. So still working out and kind of recovering from that, but I'm going to move forward as much as I can and do the best I can compensating for that. And the last thing we'll have is adjusting the pacing of levels 2 and 3. I kind of accomplished this as well. Last milestone, I wanted to try a few things from the feedback that I'd gotten, but let's get into here and then I'll talk about that later. So I just tap level 2. And so the background looks as it did last time. Now you see that we have a different character there. He's animating with his idle animation. And then there's a new enemy, which is a zombie, and I'll explain why it's a zombie soon. I figured that the theme wasn't too locked down, so it could really be anything. Without getting too close and similar to Plants vs. Zombies, I thought this was an okay choice for the basic creep, since it was, zombies are seen as slow and I suppose easy targets, so that's why I thought this might be acceptable as character number 1. I also have a bug right now which gives me double, sometimes triple scrap when a character dies, and that's because of the dying animation. It's just a bug that needs to be sorted out still. So when the dying animation happens for one of the characters, actually here, let me put out this guy. Oops, I wasn't able to place him. Let's do that now. Okay. So as you can see, there are a few, and I'm not doing well as I'm trying to demo these things. There are a few animations going on now, which make it look a lot better. But obviously the background still needs a lot of work. And there's another bug. I'm identifying a lot of bugs now that I'm implementing a few features, so that'll have to be some cleanup I do, maybe in Milestone 6 and maybe a bit afterwards. So the pacing here is a bit better. I think overall it's probably a bit too fast. And when I say fast, I mean probably too fast to spawn enemies, and enemies come still too rapidly. So I'll slow it down, maybe thinking about slowing down some of the character movement quite a bit as well. It's just going to level 3 to demo the power, or the tiles being highlighted by the power converters there. There are a few things I wanted to fix. I got a lot of good feedback about the numbers not being visible, the win and lose kind of being too static, and being able to do things more with that. Some of this I want to deal with in Milestone 6, but I'll probably write Toph an email explaining what I want to do and to see if that's alright with them. Also, I'm not sure why I'm not able to get sound. Maybe I'll try to present differently next time, but we'll see. Alright, so let me get enough so that I can get some characters. And I know you saw it when I was demoing the last level, but The tile's not highlight, and I wanted to demonstrate a few things with how they highlight and some limitations with the current system that we might look into in the future. So there we go, I have a few. So first off, you can tell now which tiles are being highlighted. It's very obvious, so if I want to take advantage of that, I can move this gunner. Likewise here, and then I know very clearly by moving this what is changing, right? It's very obvious now. Maybe a little bit too obvious, and maybe we can make that a bit more subtle, even while making it obvious to the player. So that's something I'll try to work through. Likewise with the ice power converter. They're highlighted blue, and the arrows represent the directions they affect. A thing that happens now, though, is what would happen, and I still have to think about this, and perhaps it's alright. What would happen if two tiles are overclocked by the same one? Well, or by the the same tile is overclocked by two power converters. To deal with this right now, I just have the most recent change you make is what you'll see. So you can see I moved the red one, and now this tile, where in this second row here, is highlighted red, but if I move the blue one, then that will overtake it, since it's the most recent change I've made. I might try to do something in the future with balancing or showing both colors. It gets a little bit difficult or tricky with the combination itself. The different combinations that can be there, and maybe making it somewhat more visually attractive by some sort of animation would be nice. Maybe that's out of scope considering the rest of the things I need to do for this project. But it's something that is kind of like would be a nice to have. Okay, I think I covered everything that I wanted to for this milestone. And the rest that I was talking about, Milestone 6, I'll probably put in an email. So I'm going to switch over to the code real quick. So as we move on to look at the code, there's a few things I wanted to point out. Let's go to the code first. The stage script has been modified to, first of all, keep a collection of these tiles, whereas before it was just kind of creating them and letting them be wherever they were, because we weren't doing anything with them before. We were just kind of creating them and letting them stay. We now keep track of them in this 2D array, and that way we're able to later color the tiles based on which hero type, or rather which power converter represented by their hero type enum is affecting them at this time. So it only actually, you know what, I should probably have this. If it's a different hero type for some reason, which should never happen, but just for safety's sake, it should display white, which is its normal color, so no tint on it, right? So if the type is none, meaning it's empty, essentially, and we'll look at the power script after this, then it'll display white without a tint, and then depending on the different power converters here, you can see through the rest of the switch that we have the different colors which represent each different power converter we have. So that's all that's changed in this one. The power management, which is, which is the script that manages the state. So it has a list of all of the power converters that are affecting each tile. Most of these are empty a lot of the time, because really you can only deal with so many power converters on the on your board at once. So anyway, sorry. They previously kept track, and you could add them and remove them. What's new is this highlighted section, and anything that's calling the stage script and modifying it. Essentially, it's letting the stage script decide what to do, how it wants to color the tile, as it should, and then passing along the type that's affecting it and which tile it is, right? So that's essentially which tile they're modifying now. If they remove power, they're going to say, if that was the last one in there, just color it white, or pass along none, there's nothing in there, so it would be colored white. Otherwise, pass the second most recent effect from a power converter that was placed on it. And likewise, if we just add a new one, we'll add that one directly. So we know it'll be the most recent, so we just don't have to do any searching, we add that directly. And then in this case where we clear everything, which isn't used yet, but is just around for convenience, we would set everything to none, or rather remove all the tint from it. Some of the things that we did here, so I guess it's a good opportunity to show off the animator. So this is for one of the enemies. Let's see if I can get a better one. Sorry about that. If I get zombie boy animations, so the gunner, I think it has a few more states. Oh no, it doesn't really, does it? So this is just the animator engine showing what states are available. You can go from idle to shoot, and then from shoot back to idle once you're done with it, and then it just loops through idle. You can also go from idle to dead or shoot to dead. So if you're killed right at the same time you're playing the shoot animation, you're also able to go to dead. And so that's the way that's set up. The way it works with the script itself is there are different states, and I'm probably telling things that you already know, but here's a state, and each one of these animations have a condition. So each one of these transitions have a condition. So state is equal to 1, which we set when we want to fire. State shoot, which is shoot is equal to 1 at the top. Just made it a little bit more readable here. So if state is equal to, we set it to equal to shoot here, right? And then we wait to idle, and then after we're done idling, after we're done waiting, we set the state back to idle. The blocker script and the blocker and the enemy operate in very similar ways. The blocker doesn't have a shoot animation, really only has idle and die at this point. And right now it was represented by a pumpkin, which is, let me see if I can pull this over too. So I got this free sprite list, and I probably will want to, they have other paid sprites, and I'll discuss this with Tove as well. But this seemed like the most walnut-esque sprite that they had. It's maybe not on theme, probably not, but I thought the zombies and the ninjas were two other enemy types I was planning to bring in. So I'm not sure whether I'll do the ninjas themselves are immune to ice, or the girl versions of each of these two enemies are immune to ice. I don't see a reason, or at least a good reason to explain why that is, aside from, hey, this is just how the game works. But maybe we can work some logic into that. That's the plan thus far, but we'll go over that later probably. Last thing I wanted to go over is the spawn script. Right now, we're just producing enemies. This is case 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the levels and how they are spawning different enemies at which rates. This can probably be a little bit more sophisticated still, but for the most part, it seems to be working. I might want to play with it a bit more. Additionally, I still want to change the pace at which the runner across the top, or the timing of the level itself, how long that takes. And there was another thing I wanted to modify with regards to different levels as well, but I can't think of it at this point. Okay, so this is everything that I worked on for Milestone 5. I'll wrap it up because it's getting kind of long. Thanks very much.